What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. And if you are not familiar, this is the segment on my channel where I go back through A24's entire catalog from the first film that they ever produced all the way to whenever I get caught up. And every now and again, I stumble across a film in A24's catalog that I can't believe I've never heard of, especially with like the cast in it and just all of the talent involved. I just can't believe that I'd never heard of it. And this one is really surprising to me because it stars Kristen, Stewart, and Nicholas Hoult. It's directed by a director who I really enjoyed one of his other films called Like Crazy. And it just feels like everything would align in this film to make it a really successful project from A24, other than, and I've discussed this in my A24 archive videos prior, that DirecTV logo gets slapped on there. You're either in for something really terrible, or every now and again you'll get a slow west that is pleasantly surprising. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Equals. Equals is directed by Drake Doremus, a futuristic love story set in a world where emotions have been eradicated. So it's a pretty simple plot description, but it's also a relatively simple film. And surprisingly, when I was reading reviews for this one online, I noticed that a lot of people really had problems with this one. I saw a lot of 1 and 2 star reviews of this film, and I'm not sure if it's because this came out in the era of like the Hunger Games movies and the Maze Runner and Divergent and all of these films that were like big budget, in your face, dystopian universe movies, but I really liked this movie a lot. And I don't know if I'm just crazy, but I thought this movie was really great. I thought that the execution of it was handled perfectly. I thought the performances were great. I thought the score was phenomenal. I thought the cinematography was fantastic. And I'm just not 100% sure what people didn't enjoy about this, but I'll get into it a little bit when I talk about the review. So we're introduced to Nicholas Hoult's character. He's living in this dystopian society where they have eradicated human emotion. People don't feel anything. There's no love. There's no relationships. There's no anything. People go to work and they push towards the common goal of just working to live to benefit the society. And they have these like conception centers where women are artificially inseminated so that they can have children and that they can continue the society to thrive without having emotions involved. And so Nicholas Hoult is this designer where he works on these images. I'm not even 100% sure what they're for, but he works on these images and he works with Kristen Stewart and all these other people. Early on in the film, we see someone commit suicide because they have something called SOS, which essentially what it is they classify it as a disease where you start to feel emotion again, and they tell you that you go through different stages of the disease, eventually leading to your death. And most people commit suicide beforehand because if you were in a world where you're the only person who can feel emotion and everyone around you cannot, you would probably start to lose your mind. And so through a certain set of circumstances, Nicholas Hoult's character gets diagnosed with this, and he notices through certain sets of circumstances that Kristen Stewart's character may also be going through this, and he approaches her about it, and the film progresses on from there. So like I said, it's an incredibly simplistic premise, having these two people that can slowly start to feel emotions again have to hide it from the rest of the world, essentially, because of the fact that they can be killed or their minds eradicated of it, or whatever the government organization can do to ensure that they cannot feel. And I thought that it was such an interesting idea. And obviously this isn't a new idea. This has been explored multiple times. I saw a couple people in the comments leave remarks about Yorgos Lanthimos, which I don't think his films are societies devoid of emotion. I just think his films are played very straightforward and without emotion for the darker comedic effect. This, like looking at a society where it is known that the emotions are stripped, was a really fascinating idea. And I think the way that the love blossoms between these two characters and how it sort of plays out, it's really interesting what it would be like if you could just all of a sudden feel again if you hadn't had the opportunity to feel your entire life. And so I thought the way that they handled it was really great, because it's less through the dialogue and so much more through the cinematography. There's a lot of really beautiful close-ups. There's a lot of lingering shots on people holding hands, and like a way that like this movie has a really kind of like dark blue hue to it, so it constantly feels very somber. The entire time you're watching the film, you feel kind of like it's just a cold environment. And so when you're getting the contrast of those shots where there's a lot of close-ups and you're seeing this intimacy, it's a really great contrast with that cold, somber feeling that the rest of the film conveys. And you get characters like Pearce is introduced, who does a really great job in this movie. And there's like these little subplots that occur, but mostly it's these two characters trying to navigate their life in a world that does not want them to be able to live that life. I thought it was a really fascinating concept, despite the fact that this is something that has been discussed before in film, and it goes in a direction that it wasn't difficult to kind of think about where they were going to go with this movie. But I think, like I said, the execution is really great and it keeps you invested from start to finish. Like I said, the director of this movie made another film I really loved called Like Crazy, starring Anton Yelchin, that I thought had similarly beautiful cinematography, really great performances, another unconventional love story, which I think this director clearly enjoys doing. But yeah, this is one I'm not 100% sure why it was so slept on. Most of the critiques that I've read were like, it's boring, nothing happens, I've seen a million movies like this, blah, 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 blah. And I think the problem is, if a lot of those reviews were around the time period that this was released, it's released in a time when there was just a slew of dystopian films, but they were high-octane action films that were in your face. They weren't very pulled back or nuanced compared to this, which is just using that setting to tell a beautiful story about human emotion, the way that we navigate our emotions, and how if that was stripped away from us and we had to embrace it again, how like certain people would react. And I thought that was a really cool and unique idea that the filmmaker executed really well. And like I said, I think like in A24's catalog, this is a really entertaining and well-made movie, and I'm not sure why more people didn't enjoy it, but this is my recommendation. If you haven't seen Equals, go watch it. It's definitely worth it. So if you've seen Equals, did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was great. I didn't really have that many problems with it. I thought that it was really well paced. I thought the performances were great. I thought the cinematography was great. Really surprised more people didn't like this movie. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.